My fiancé accidentally sent me a voice memo intended for his sister, and what I heard about me made me leave the next morning. I am 29, female. He is 32. We were engaged for 3 years. Last week, I ended the relationship after receiving the memo by mistake. I'm currently typing this from my best friend's guest room, with suitcases packed quickly, trying to process how my life changed completely in a single day. Ethan and I met through mutual friends at a housewarming party. He was charming, smart, and we immediately bonded over hiking and indie films. Things moved fast. We moved in after a year. He proposed at 2 years. Our wedding was scheduled for next spring. We booked the venue, sent save the dates, chose the wedding party. I was supposed to go dress shopping with my mom next weekend. I never noticed any warning signs. We had normal small disagreements, but nothing serious. We both got along with each other's families. I especially connected with his younger sister Megan, who I truly thought was my friend. We talked about kids, purchased furniture, planned vacations. Everything seemed stable. Last Wednesday, I worked the night shift at the hospital. I'm a pediatric nurse. Ethan texted me that he was having dinner with Megan to go over wedding details. I didn't think anything was unusual. They are close, and she is my maid of honor. I came home around midnight exhausted and went straight to sleep. Ethan wasn't home yet, which wasn't strange when he was out with family. The next morning, my phone buzzed. Ethan had sent me a voice memo at 1:23 a.m. I assumed it was a sweet message recorded when he arrived home and noticed I was asleep. He occasionally sent voice notes saying good night or reminding me of inside jokes. Half asleep, I smiled and pressed play. What I heard changed everything. Hey Meg, driving home now. Dinner was exactly what I needed. I've been feeling so suffocated lately. Sarah is just not who I thought she was when we started dating. My heart stopped. His voice was slightly slurred, clearly drunk. The closer we get to the wedding, the more I realize I'm settling. She's fine, reliable, she'd be a good mom. But there's no excitement anymore. Nothing like what I had with Kristen. Kristen, the ex he told me was long over and irrelevant. Sometimes I think I proposed because it seemed like the next reasonable step, not because I'm madly in love. I do care about her, but marriage forever? I don't know, Meg. When I see you and Daniel still having a spark after 5 years, Sarah and I don't have that. Maybe we never did. I fake it most of the time. What am I supposed to do now? Everything is already planned. People expect it. Mom and Dad love her. Your kids love her. It would destroy her if I stopped this. And then what? Start over at 32? Maybe this is as good as it gets. Maybe expecting a fairy tale is unrealistic. Anyway, I'm almost home. Don't tell Daniel I said this. Love you, sis. The memo ended. I froze. I listened again, hoping I misunderstood. But every word was clear. I was someone he settled for. I checked my phone and immediately saw a text sent 1 minute later. Wrong person. Ignore that. It was from Megan. I'm exhausted and mixed up contacts. Then, are you awake? Call me. Then, baby, I'm sorry. I was drunk. None of that was real. Please call me before you listen. But I had already heard it. My hands were shaking. My throat felt tight and heavy with shock. 3 years of memories ran through my mind. All the times he looked at me and promised forever. Was he pretending? I went to the bathroom, looked in the mirror at my pale face, red eyes, and a confused expression that seemed to ask, how did I not see this? I tried splashing cold water. Nothing helped. I heard his key downstairs. My heart raced. I couldn't face him. I locked the bedroom door, turned my phone off. cried silently as he knocked repeatedly and said my name urgently. "Sarah, please, it's not what it sounded like. Let me explain." "Explain what? That he didn't love me enough to want a future with me." "I was drunk. I didn't mean it." His voice cracked. I almost opened the door. Almost. Then I remembered. I fake it most of the time. How could I ever trust him again? Eventually, he said he would sleep on the couch. He whispered he loved me and was sorry. I heard him settle on the couch and fall asleep. While I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling. I must have slept at some point because sunlight woke me. For a moment, everything felt normal until the memory returned and the pain returned instantly. I heard him downstairs making coffee. He was waiting for me to come down and talk, but nothing he could say would fix what I heard. How can you accept that your partner sees you as settling instead of someone they choose fully? I waited until he left for work. Then I packed what I could carry, called my best friend Emma, and asked if I could stay with her, and left. I placed my ring on the counter with a note that said, "I deserve someone who doesn't have to fake it most of the time. Goodbye, Ethan." It has been 3 days since I left. My entire reality has divided into before and after. Before, I was planning my wedding with a man I believed loved me. After, I'm staying on my friend's pull-out couch, ignoring his messages, and trying to remember who I am outside of this relationship. The first day, he called non-stop. His texts went from desperate to angry to pleading. "Please come home. You're overreacting. Guys say stupid stuff when drunk. You won't give me a chance to explain. I love you. Don't end everything over one mistake." But it was not one mistake. It was a direct look into how he really felt. He confided in his sister, not me. How many times had they discussed me behind my back? Emma has been supportive. When I showed up crying with 2 suitcases, she didn't ask anything at first. This is better to learn now than after kids and marriage. I'm processing everything in waves. Sometimes I'm furious. Sometimes sad. Sometimes doubting myself. Maybe it was just drunk venting. Maybe everyone has moments of fear before marriage. But then I hear his tone again. Calm, resigned. She's reliable. Like I was a safe choice, not his actual love. The comparison to Kristen bothers me the most. For after that, last night, I finally told my mom. I was avoiding it because telling her makes it more real. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was silent for a long moment. Then she said she always thought Ethan was a good guy. I whispered, I thought so too. She asked if I wanted to come home. The idea of going back to my childhood room before adult heartbreak was tempting. I told her I didn't know yet. She said, whatever I decide, she supports me, and that this is about him, not me. But I still wonder, did I miss signs? Did I ignore hesitation because I wanted this future so badly? Our intimacy had dropped this past year. Was he no longer attracted to me? He worked late more often. Was he avoiding home? When I mentioned trying for a baby after the wedding, he seemed unsure. Was that because he didn't want a future tied to me? Or am I rewriting history now through pain? This morning, Ethan came to Emma's door with coffee and pastries. Emma met him outside. He asked for 5 minutes to explain. She told him we all heard the memo. He insisted it meant nothing. She asked why he said those things to his sister if it wasn't real. He didn't have an answer. After he left, Emma asked me what I wanted to do about the wedding. I hadn't even thought through the logistics yet. Deposits? Guests? Dress? I said, I guess I need to cancel everything. She told me I don't need to handle everything today, and tonight. I finally turned my phone on and texted Ethan that I needed time and space. He instantly replied that he loves me and will wait. But now those words mean nothing, because I know what he truly says when he thinks I won't hear him. Update 2 weeks later. It has been 15 days since that voice memo changed everything. 15 days of staying with Emma, ignoring Ethan's escalating attempts to reach me, and trying to rebuild some. As painful as it was, I needed to rebuild my sense of identity outside of just being Ethan's future wife. Yesterday, I finally agreed to see him. Not to forgive him, but to close this chapter. We met somewhere neutral, a coffee shop downtown where neither of us ever went. I arrived early and sat in the corner on purpose where I could see the exit clearly. I needed a safe exit if things went wrong. When Ethan walked in, my chest tightened against my will. He looked awful, unshaven, dark circles, wrinkled clothes like he barely slept. For a second, I felt sympathy. Then I remembered his words. I just fake it most of the time. He sat across from me, hands wrapped around his cup like he needed heat to keep himself together. Neither of us spoke at first. "Thank you for meeting me," he finally said. I just nodded. "Sarah, what you heard wasn't real. I was stressed, I was drunk, I was venting to Megan. People vent sometimes. Venting about traffic is normal, Ethan. Venting about work is normal. Telling your sister that you're settling for me, marrying me because I'd be a good mom, that is not normal." He flinched. "I didn't mean it." "Then why say it? Drunk words are sober thoughts. That's what people always say. It's not that simple." He leaned forward desperately. "I love you. I've always loved you. But you're not in love with me. There's a difference." "That's not true," he argued. But it was. He compared us to his sister and her husband, said we had no spark, said he was settling because starting over was too difficult. He ran both hands through his hair, a gesture I'd seen 1,000 times. I just got cold feet. Everyone does before marriage. That doesn't mean I don't want to marry you. But should you? Should I choose a man who has to convince himself this is good enough? Silence. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I never meant to hurt you." "But you did. And worse. I would have never known if that memo wasn't accidentally sent. We'd get married, have children, build our life, all with you secretly feeling trapped. It wouldn't have been like that," he insisted. "How do you know? You said you felt this way for a while, that I wasn't who you thought I was. When did I change? Or did you just stop seeing me clearly?" He couldn't answer, just insisted he would do anything. Therapy, postponing the wedding, anything to fix us. But I needed honesty, not repair tactics. So I asked the question I was most afraid of. "Do you still think about Kristen?" His hesitation answered for him. "I don't compare you to her," he finally said. "That's not fair." But he had. In the memo, he said we didn't have what he had with her. It was just different with her. Not better, just different. Different how? He shifted in his seat. More extreme, higher highs, lower lows. With you, everything is steady, safe. There it was again. Reliable, like I was a well-built Toyota. Dependable, but not exciting. He tried to fix it by adding he wanted steadiness long-term. But that wasn't what he fantasized about. Something inside me snapped. "I think we're done here," I said, standing up. "Sarah, please." "No, Ethan. I deserve someone who is excited to marry me, not someone who needs to force himself into it." I walked out lighter than I'd felt in weeks. Still hurting, but also finally valuing myself again. When I got to Emma's, a big envelope was waiting. A letter from Megan. I braced myself for excuses, but instead, it was an apology. She wrote that Ethan had been struggling deeply since their parents' divorce. That night wasn't normal behavior, not an excuse. It didn't erase the pain, but it reminded me Ethan's wounds belonged to him, not me. Today, I signed a lease near the hospital. Tiny, outdated kitchen, but it's mine. A true reset. I started calling vendors, canceling wedding plans one by one. Every phone call hurt, but every phone call also returned a piece of me. This wasn't the ending I imagined, but maybe it's the beginning I should have had all along. Update. 3 months later, life can be both too fast and painfully slow after heartbreak. The last 3 months were rebuilding routines, diving into my job, and rediscovering who I am without Ethan attached to my identity. I got promoted, pediatric nursing coordinator, a role I put off for years because I thought wedding planning and babies were coming soon. My first month living alone was brutal. I woke up reaching for someone who wasn't there. Silence was deafening. No second breathing pattern in bed. No coffee sounds. No gentle arguments about walking the dog. Ethan kept Bruno, and it made logical sense. But I miss that dog, like I miss Ethan sometimes. We had one final 4-hour closure conversation. At the end, we agreed. No friendship, no checking in, no social media. Too dangerous, too many what-ifs. In another life, we could have been happy, he said. I know, you loved me, just not enough, or not correctly. He didn't argue. That told me the truth. Megan asked to remain friends, but it didn't feel possible. She'd always be his sister first. My mom visits every other weekend, helps me make this new place a home. Never once said I told you so, even though she quietly worried about how fast we moved. She just cooks, helps hang art, chooses colors. Last week at a brewery, I ran into Kristen, the ex he once compared me to. My nursing friends froze when I walked toward her. But we ended up talking for 2 hours. She explained their relationship was chaotic, dramatic, exhausting. Ethan always chased some perfect cinematic romance. When he had healthy stability with me, part of him didn't trust it, didn't believe something calm could last. Hearing this from her, the woman I once feared, was surreal and strangely liberating. For what it's worth, Kristen said before leaving, I think he made a huge mistake, and one day he'll understand that. Tonight, watching sunset from my tiny balcony, I think about how differently I see that voice memo now. 3 months ago, it broke me. Today, I see it as one moment of insecurity from a man battling his own fears, not a measure of my worth. I still have days where I wince passing wedding shops, days I miss our comfort, but those days are fewer now. If I could go back, I still would have walked away, because we both deserve more than settling disguised as love. I don't know what comes next. For the first time in years, my future is just mine, scary and thrilling all at once. But one thing is certain. I am more than reliable, more than someone's safe option, more than someone's backup plan. I am worthy of someone who chooses me with certainty, not someone convincing himself I'm good enough. For now, that truth is enough to move forward, one day at a time, into whatever comes next.